Kaysar Abdir, Yerlan Kambitbayev, Linara Anwarbekova, Olja Sashkeev, Kairat, your name had been said as well, so do come on stage. Good day to everyone, and my congratulations to the Day of Finance people, to the Day of the National Currency, and as usual, we have a lot of people in our room. Insurance becomes more and more important in Kazakhstan, and every year we feel that, and this is the 10th Congress of Financists, and I see more and more people who come to this session, and I think we do a good thing for the country, for people, and for us as well. Dear friends, I'm happy to welcome you here. We have a panel discussion here about drivers of private insurance market growth. And we are growing. Our figures are quite good. And the chairwoman of the regulator has said that we are reaching the benchmarks, despite we are greatly behind the benchmark according to the international standards, and we want to grow. And we still digitalize our insurance business. We have more and more policies online. We have electronic, we have digital signature, which is used, and we don't use policies on paper anymore. And we have as well long-term savings on the agenda, and the market as we have it now, it grows year by year. Our clients seem to be happy, and let's talk frankly today, because we have here only our people, no strangers are around. And Maria, in order to set the tone of our discussion, I pass the floor to you. And the first question is about the weak points from the look of the regulator. And you know how the insurance market is being driven. As well, development of the insurance market has to be in balance, and as a regulator, you are in charge of it. And I'm pretty sure that you have some issues that you consider as problems, and let's talk about the major issues here, what we're going to do in the nearest 2 or 3 years, and what do we have to expect from you. So I pass the floor to you. Good day, dear colleagues. It's a tradition for me to say congratulations with our professional day. And I wish financial prosperity to you, to your families, to our country. And our task is to develop insurance market. And I'd like, and before I start talking about the issues that we have, I'd like to say that we grow, and the growth is stable, is good, and assets of insurance organizations increased by several percent and reached 3.8% and reached 1.3 trillion. It is more than the indicators of the previous year, and we pay more payments. The number of agreements that we conclude increases, and it says that the stable insurance market growth, we observe it now for sure. And those people who don't use obligatory insurance policies, but mainly we can say that the major part of the nation is using insurance, and we have over 17 million agreements, and this is a very good figure that we're having. Talking about our issues and painful spots that we are discussing all the time, and unfortunately in many cases we get back to voluntarily insurance types. And as of today, the first thing to talk about is a limited range of insurance products that we have. And traditionally, obligatory insurance is developing, but those products that we offer within the framework of voluntarily insurance, they are not that well used by the people. They are not adapted to individual specificity of the client, real needs of the client, and this seems to be the main problem, the major pain point, which we have to cure, and not only on the level of the regulation, but as well on interaction between the insurance market participants. We need to broaden up the range of insurance products, but not due to obligatory types of insurance, which and we have new classes of these products every year, but we need to expand the range of voluntarily insurance. Where do we see the potential for the market? Within the last 2 years, we see that we see several classes of medical insurance for migrants and their families, obligatorily insurance from fires, and obligatory insurance for medical professionals. All they are related to medical insurance, and we want this part of insurance to become a significant part of medical insurance, and it has to be in competition with the medical insurance. And the agency, together with the participants of insurance market, deal with these things, and in order to increase the efficiency of insurance market services, to increase the amount of people insured after the order is adopted, is approved, medical assistances will be created, and we think that it would involve additional money to insurance market, to medicine. It would allow to increase cooperation between insurance and medical organizations and increase the quality of medical services provided. What would allow to increase the amount of voluntarily insurance for people. And I'd like to talk about several innovations that we're going to discuss in regard to the Fund of Medical Insurance and involvement of funds from medical insurance. And this is the key issue that we have to solve. We talked to members of parliament about that, and I hope they understood what we want, and I hope that we will have quality improvement in this class of insurance. Within the next year, we plan to revise the obligatory insurance. As I have said it in the beginning of this year, we started from lawyers, private lawyers. We discussed it with Ministry of Justice, and there are a lot of questions related to this type of insurance, and the payments here are not significant, and these classes are not don't seem to be efficient. And what we're going to do, we need to think over about it within the recent time and give our suggestions. And as well, we need to discuss the structure of insurance market. And we see that digitalization of insurance market is not going too slow. It goes unevenly. And unfortunately, development of digitalization and automatization in various companies is not the same. And this became clear when we started introducing MSFO standards. And some companies do keep up, and some are left behind. In order to increase the potential of insurance market in terms of digitalization and automatization, we offer within the framework of the law on banks and their activity. We think that they need to use their resources. They can get into the capital of digital companies, and this would allow to increase the level of digital services provided. Digitalization goes very quick, but in some specific fields we see that they are very behind, and it's very good for the brokers to develop their marketplaces so that they were not that dependent from the second-tier banks. And the second-tier banks are the banks who provide the possibility to cover as many consumers as possible within the usage of marketplaces. So platforms and marketplaces for the users have to be created so that the consumers were able to get as many insurance services as possible, and the brokers have to be able to get information from insurance databases. We have to develop brokers' business in insurance field. They have to be able to get commission from consumers and from insurance people and from customers. We need to increase the penetration level of the services to the market as well. And these are one of our fields that we have to develop, and we need to discuss these innovations. And the next pain point is over-insurance. And level of excessive insurance is creating dependency of our market from foreign counter agents, and we consider operations as a tool for risks distribution and as possible capital to be relocated from the country, and it breaks the level of trust to this institution, and we need to reduce the risks of insurance sector, and we need to take more of liabilities. And we understand that insurance has to be created via making pools. And we have 2 pools now for obligatory insurance for professional responsibility for medical professionals. And the second pool is within the framework of obligatory social security. And we need to redistribute internal levels of insurance. And as well, what I want to mention as well, regulator says that we need to adopt regulation practices in accordance with the international standards. As you know, as of today, the work on Solvency II is being carried out. With international experts, we have performed quite a good amount of work in order to determine those growth points that can be introduced into our insurance system. And it goes along with MSFO 17 is almost finished in insurance companies, and it allows us to think about complete deployment of coefficients of solvency. And definitely these ratios have to be reconsidered and carefully checked. And within the next few years, we have a lot of work to do, and we have development goals as well. And I hope that insurance organizations' number will definitely will definitely increase in the future, and our nation will have access to these type of services. Thank you, Maria Zhumanovna. We've heard a lot, and a lot of things we have discussed previously, and we constantly discuss it, and dialogue is always on. And this is very good that we have this dialogue between us, and it allows us to find those connection points between us. Thank you very much. And I will have a second question about consumers' rights protection, but I will ask it later. And I'd like to ask my next question and ask Kairat to talk about the potential for the next 3-5 years. What do we have to strive for? We have to have some guidance in front of us, and we're developing insurance market in Kazakhstan for the last 2-3 years. But the amount of people in this room tells us more than we need to know. That we need to develop this particular sphere as much as possible. What are the risks that we did not assess? Hello, my congratulations with our professional day. I wish us success and stability to our currency. And I think that the industry has very good perspectives in the future. Yes, and recently we had a talk with a rating agency, and they had been assessing the level of penetration, and that was the only one criteria that they have assessed. And we need to talk about the MS4 17 and the Fund of Guarantee of Payments. And how I assess the level of development of the industry is the width of the path to the insurance companies. And I'm not like I don't want to say something against what Maria said, but I'd like to emphasize, considering as well that I worked for a long time in life insurance, that life insurance industry, life insurance part is going to grow in the future. The growth of pension deductions is significant here, and those pension deductions transfer to funds of level life insurance is going to grow. And as of today, the growth from the pension fund is about 80%. So 80% of funds are being taken from pension fund. So the life insurance accumulations and these products for GONSA in US dollars is what's planned, because banks cannot offer a good interest rate for the life insurance. And we want that KZG accepted the product in USD, and banks were able to use security deposits in USD. And in pension annuity, these strategies have to be have to be based on the desire of a client, how he wants to manage this. And if we talk about the campaign on general insurance, considering that I work in Eurasia, this is reinsurance. And again, we're talking about penetration, about Great Britain and Germany, and in those countries we see reinsurance in a great level.
And the same indicators, speaking on the commissions per capita, is almost different in UK. So commissions are gathered through or in those countries. And in that relation, I think that we have a pretty good position based on the development of reinsurance, and this direction has a big share of the insurance companies, and there is done lots of work in that direction. There's lots of knowledge, and there is the needs of the capital. It's not just the way that the government would tell you this is the need of the capital. You have to grow the capital yourself. You have to grow the fortune yourself, so that the external reinsurance is around 700 billions of dollars, US dollars. And in Europe, in the US, and in Germany in particular, there are pretty high salaries, and there the Kazakhstani insurance companies could suggest pretty good solutions and possibilities, because we have our neighboring countries, and we have not a pretty good situation with our neighboring country where the insurance business has closed. Yeah, I would say that that's a pretty good thing. So the other thing that Maria Jamalna has mentioned is that we have lots of the money going towards reinsurance to foreign countries. We're putting money in many insurance companies outside, and even our own Samruk-Kazina, which is in the quasi-governmental sector, it is also investing money into reinsurance of the money abroad. So those are situations that we cannot explain, but here, of course, we'd like to continue our work. And I expect that in the future, the near future, the market of insurance may become pretty cool. So what we should work on is the rating of the country. It is one of the factors that is keeping us from the assessment of insurance companies. For example, last year there was a meeting, there came S&P. Yeah, we have some platforms where, and this platform, FGSV, we can invite our rating agencies. We can invite them, and we can discuss their weak points. And from the point of both the regulator and with S&P, we had a pretty hard discussion, and we probably didn't get in contact with them. So there's a pretty interesting thing, such as the AI. We somehow refused when we got from the deputies of the parliament to have insurance on the AI risks, and to tell the truth, we didn't have the time to do this. And when we called to our agency, then in that case, those guys said that they already sent the request, and it's going to take already 5 years to do that. So speaking of the external statistics, so the platforms and the software that is used with AI, there's millions of people using them, there's millions of those platforms, and even for everybody relies on the AI, and there's lots of statistics because everybody is relying on it, right? And there's 10, 15 softwares which are based on open source. There's a limited number of them. And to find out, the possibility of occurrence of an error is pretty easy. But in case if there's 1,001 that got this kind of error, then in that case, the insurance company will return you this money. And this is such a great way to distribute. And we do understand that the AI is not interfering into our insurance companies' work. So that's why the deputies have suggested to insurance, we were like, hey, no, we don't need it as of now. But just because they don't make it in time, we don't have the time to do that. But the program of, let's say, of insurance, which is a thing where we can convert it into obligatory things. When, for example, there is a need to have insurance, but there are some risks connected with the insurance company, and in that connection, it would be pretty good to just go forward with it. And the other thing that I think should be there, and we suggest that, discussed that together with Rafael a lot. So, Kazakhstan, based on the assessment of UBS, became the first at the growth uh, of the welfare of the people for the last 20 years. And as of now, the welfare is now a benchmark that is not insurance. So we have a pretty big initiators that make us, insurance our major risks. Of course, even though it's pretty cheap, if it's pretty simple, yeah, let's make reinsurance outside the country. But that means that people will go towards insurance. So, and if natural disasters are growing and the population of Kazakhstan grows, and property is also becoming more and more expensive, but it's not insurance. That's why this is the direction we should move, because there are catastrophic risks, and we will do the best we can to support. And when we do understand that this direction should be developed as it's not covered fully. Thank you so much, Kairat. When you started with life, I thought, well, we could, you can take out life from person. You can take out person from life, but you can take out life from the person. But I'm still in life. Yeah, I do understand that you're in life with the strategies, right? Well, you're basically asking strategic questions. So my next question is toward Kaysar. So Mr. Akhmetova was telling about the work in your banks, and it's pretty clear that there are possibilities of insurances companies and banks to work with this kind of clients. What could we do out of the way we use digitalization in the banks? Because the banks are located at the, let's say, at the fairway, right? And what we can do so that insurance in that case would have pretty rapid steps. So congrats with the day of national currency. Wish everybody stability and nice finances. Well, I guess we should pay even more. But from the point of digital data, I think that as of now, digital data is new gold, new oil, and everybody is ready to pay for user data, and having the digital data is a big advantage for the clients, because with this kind of data we can clearly understand the needs of the client, what he needs exactly, at which moment, and when exactly he may need that. So we build the models based on the clients. Whenever we propose any product, we're not just sending you that and say, hey, buy this product. We try to understand how it's working. We build a model of the client, we sort it, and then we define the need of some definite product, and whether this product will be needed to the client. And then after that, at the needed time, we just get to the client and we tell them about that. So in total, for half a year, gross sales of digital products has grown up to 15%. Besides gross sales, the VAT has grown per client, and we know that at this moment we need a new product. And if it's getting purchased pretty simple in a couple clicks, then our NPS has grown up to 12%. of course, it's a pretty big advantage to the client, first of all. And I would just repeat that this data, everybody has tries to give even more benefit towards the client. So it means that any limitations are inappropriate, right? Because you should purchase insurance from banks and, just go further and further. Of course, I mean, it's much. I mean, as a group, we try to provide all the products as comfortable as possible, so that for the client to reach from one app to another app, enter from one website to another website. I mean, is a real pain. So you can just use one app and you can purchase whatever you want. And when you also have the help of your insurance company in your time of need, then you just basically, I mean, whenever you, for example, forget to purchase your insurance, we arrived at you, we leave you notification, we start working with you. Thank you so much for that, Kaysar. So our next guest, based on our plan, is Yilan. Yilan was on one side, then on the other one, and now he's back. So he's an adept of life insurance, right? Yilan, well, now a question on life insurance. And if Kairatas responded about obligatory medical insurance and so on, but could you tell us about life insurance? When, how, when it's, I mean, what about our expectations so that our clients would purchase that? And when we're going to be happy, when it's going to work? Good day to everyone. First of all, I also would like to congratulate everybody with our professional celebration, the Day of National Currency. And I wish that our currency, so that everybody would have lots of our currency in every type of it, digital, cash, whatever. So yeah, I said about my, as Oleg has mentioned about my story, yeah, you can get out of life, but life will not leave you. So yeah, I said I'm pretty happy to be back at life insurance. And for me, I would say it's part of my life. And speaking of insurance, that's a pretty general question. Okay. I mean, I'm also on life insurance, all right? I see some light in the end of the tunnel, and could you just give me some prospects? Okay, just let's try to understand the situation that we are in right now as a country. Well, to tell the truth, all those base values that we have, right? That the protection of the incomes and protection of the breadwinner, and the pensions, the retirement funds, and all those things are universal things, and the whole world follows them. There's just some different approaches in different countries, in different directions for them, because of some mental or cultural or maybe legislative limitations and settings. But I'll just provide you some numbers. And as said, I'm speaking about long-term life insurance as a type of savings. So, for example, in China, life insurance savings is around 30%. In the Eurozone, on average, 15%. And in the US, our feelings about the fact that this is a consumer society is around 5%, which is approving our point pretty clearly. So we don't have this kind of statistics in Kazakhstan, but we can give some probable indicators in that. And okay, we have our obligatory pension savings, right, that everybody has to pay. And on the first panel session, Jandos Rosarievich, as a moderator, has also mentioned, he's given his opinion that there appeared some, let's say, hopes that system should be changed, fixed, or maybe excluded some things out of that. Well, I wouldn't agree with that, because if it wasn't the system that works in Kazakhstan for more than 20 years, in this system there is also voluntary savings, right? And I could give you some numbers in it. And I can see the whole right now in the audience, the head of the pension savings fund, and for the current year, the difference was 0.4% of changes in the unified savings of the pension fund. So this shows the culture of savings in, let's say, in view of some voluntary or long-term strategies. And for me, life insurance is a thing that is a long-term strategy, a task that has some clear goals and which has some clear mechanisms of protection. And we should thank both our government, our agencies, and our lawmakers. And from the summer of this year, all of the long-term saving programs, they were protected by the fund of the Social Benefits Guarantee Fund. And they stimulate this kind of strategies. And personally for me, this kind of stimuli gives me the sense of optimism in the development of our life insurance sector. And here we could refer to the experience of other countries. And in this year there was also a conference, which I really liked. There was an address of our colleagues from Belarus. Around 3 years ago, there was implemented a program based on which, if a worker is ready to make savings based on the agreements of long-term insurance, some percentage of his salary, then in that case, up to 3%, the government will give him based on the principle of parity. So, for example, the worker puts 3% to the savings, then the employer will give other 3% based on parity. And after 3 years, the program has shown its effectivity in more than 50,000 workers took part in this program. And the population of Belarus is around 9 million people, and it's around 5% of the whole population. And this is a clear and transparent stimuli for the market to develop. And also in Kazakhstan we have such programs which exist. And Karat told about the governmental saving system where the government is supporting all the systems. There's also nationalbank system where the government is also taking part in its development. And my opinion on that is that exactly the clear understanding of the task and the aim of and our stimulus will allow our market to be on a decent level. Thank you so much, Ilan. You've given us hope. You've brought us back the belief in that. And I would like to ask a question to the colleagues that that represent the data on the structures of the market. And the first question I think would be towards Linara. What would happen with the Okay, what news you have. Maybe you have any ways to personalize your insurance tariffs so that it would be even more social justice. Could you please share your opinion on that? Thank you so much, my dear friends and colleagues. First of all, oh yeah, could you just raise the mic a bit? Okay, sounds better. So, as said, I would like to congratulate everybody on the National Day of National Currency, and which is a very important component, because whenever we're speaking about any kinds of money, Yolande wishes everybody any kinds of money, and I would wish you any kinds of data that you could analyze, formalize, and just view how it influences the growth of the market and the welfare of our people. Well, I would like to start with something unique, and the first question was on with what we would like to make happy the market. So, for the last 3 years, our task was to provide different kinds of instruments based on data that we gather and accumulate, and we have created different kinds of instruments between the insurance base and the credit base, and we have also created different kinds of analytical instruments. And in numbers, if we view it, we get 2.4 million of requests on different analytical APIs we have based on the social services and insurance services of the employer, and the analysis of the cost of property, and also the analysis of the driver, because this service was used pretty much, and you can get those data pretty fast. There's already an assessment of that, and you can already put it and analyze it.
Besides that, we've been creating services for quite a long time in order to develop and integrate several products for legal entities, and we have 164 million requests for insurance for legal entities, and the main products are the insurance report. But in order for the market to be more comprehensible, when the market is ready to create some products, it's critical to get the data from the initial source that will be your basement for development. And then we continued integration, and we expanded products for physical persons, and we installed push notifications, and we integrated it with eGov Business. And for legal entities, we now can get scoring reports, reliability reports, and in general, availability of information for entities is almost complete, and we are going to give more information. But we have started the major part, and eGov is the main source of requests. About 1 million of data is being consumed by legal and physical entities. And data-driven instruments for insurance market. I'd like to say that we have credit rating. All banks have discussed during the panel the scoring, the credit rating, where the main analysis of the borrower is being performed. And we have worked on the insurance rating for physical persons. We assess the representativity of it, and we will be ready to present it with all the parameters included into there, in order to be able to explain what this scoring and credit rating is based on, and it will influence the insurance rating, and it's going to be our additional source. and the credit rating is going to be used, and all the data will be driven on that rating. And I'm happy that we have it in our work, and we trust it, and we enhance it, and we use it. As well, we generated a product which allows to see the level of loss of the insurance policy, and now we have sufficient data, and we gather them together and generate the overall information and assess the reason for that. And I understand that insurance companies do their analysis, but this is a manual type of work, and we do our best to automatize, to make this work automated in order to be able to process a bigger amount of data. And we as well use behavioral patterns in insurance in order to be able to create a better quality model. And we as well said that we created a rating for insurance companies, and we discussed whether it's qualified, whether it has enough level of quality to be introduced into the market, and we decided to work more on it, divide it on separate fields, because one rating shows the general picture, and there are various criteria and parameters where insurance companies might be leaders in, and we want to display it all together, and in order we could get the overall picture of the speed of the payments, quality of assessment, and so forth. Prospects of development. It's critical to say about anti-fraud. Anti-fraud center in Kazakhstan works mainly for payments. And we would like to have in insurance sector this tool to be developed as well. And so far, the databases for anti-fraud in insurance market, it's not complete. It's not, despite we have events, and as well we need to analyze it to assess whether the client is subject to, and if we saw that in some credit or payment service he came across with some fraud, we have to be able to inform insurance companies about that so that they could take action towards that. And we are trying to integrate further, and over 5 services we offer to insurance market. And we have state authorities from which it's very challenging to get data, and that data is critical for the life insurance. And we are working on the patterns of work with these authorities. And sometimes the state authorities don't have sufficient amount of processed data. And by the end of this year, we plan to test our open API, and we're going to make a presentation. And in our opinion, this is one of the tools that would allow to make this product closer to the client, to the customer. And we will open up services where we would be able to integrate brokers, marketplaces, and other platforms which generate a huge pool of clients, where we can get requests for insurance. And in order this Open API was used quite well, it has to work quickly, do quick calculations, quick payments, and I think it's going to be a good driver. And as soon as we complete development, we will definitely inform the regulator. By the end of this year, we plan to finish development of the pool. We need to increase the amount of pools that we have. We need to get them automated. all that amount of work that was performed manually has to be automated. Thank you. I remember that the fact that we pay is not in vain, pay our deductions. Thank you. But in fact, we have a lot of positive things happening. And thanks to you, we have access to databases, and this is very good. This is more efficient. And I'd like to pass the floor to Oljas. Despite Oljas works in the fund for quite a long time, and he has recently been appointed as a chairman of the board. And I'd like to talk about your story. So the fund is a significant element of trust to the insurance system itself. Is the nation aware that there is such a fund, and how can we create it in such a way that it was not just an element of structure, but a real working tool? I thought today, I know that you don't like presentations. I'm the only one who has presentations, but Linara and Maria have shown that the structure is similar when we all have presentations. And please display it. If we talk in such a way, when we talk about the warranty, when something happens, when something bad happens, only then people are aware. And if you know, in 2024, we had several earthquakes, and interest to insurance, life insurance, we had more of it. We publish the articles, we give interviews, we participate in state programs, and we try to explain to the nation, to people, that there are insurances, and explain about the products. And everything what is in insurance is guaranteed, but we have some side things that help us in promotion of these warranties. And by 2023, the fund worked as warranty fund only. And after the regulation of Financial Market Development Agency support, with support from State Credit Bureau, from Association of Credit Companies of Kazakhstan, we started projects that help us in development, when we try to inform the nation about the fund of warranty of payments. And in 12,000 cases have been registered in our mobile app. Does it mean that every person who knows what is protocol, because they know about the fund of warranty for payments, because we own this mobile app, and we finished 10 courses. It was free of charge. It is located at Yenbek Skills, at Ministry of Labor portal, and over 200 people have enrolled for the first course, and we see that the range that people range from 17 up to the pension age, and it shows us that people hear and see information about the fund of warranty of payments, and all these products allow us to promote our fund and insurance market. For example, a conference that we held, and after the conference, all journals, they write about this conference, and it becomes widely known. And we develop in this sense, and those projects that we are directing to insurance market, they are not tailored for insurance market only. It helps to promote information about the insurance market. As I said about the Euro protocol, and we launched a questionnaire for insurance products, and there was no central site where all those insurance products would have been allocated, and now you can access the structure, and the statistics is quite good that people go to the website, they get acquainted with the products placed there, and all those products are oriented for the development of insurance market, and we do our best to help our shareholders in their development, which means that the fund is actively working. We have plans for the future. If we look at the Social Benefits Guarantee Fund, remember Kaspi when they promoted their deposits, and they have been saying that the deposit is secured by the Social Benefit Guarantee Fund, and it was critical for people to understand. And we think that we need to interact with the market in the same way. We need to state everywhere that that savings are guaranteed by the Social Benefits Guarantee Fund, and we have good indicators for the reserve party in terms of KSG. They have grown by 15 times, and I think it would allow us to guarantee the payments, and it will be in accordance with the legislation. Thank you. I wish you success in moving it forward. And we need our people to trust more to insurance. And let me ask permission from Maria Zhamalna to finish up this discussion, because Maria Zhamalna will go to securities market, and we'll have to talk there for another hour. But when you leave, we will have the field for discussion. And the next topic to talk is about consumers' rights protection. And what, in this sense, insurance market has to be ready to, and we won't discuss your reply. It will be later discussed with the work groups. And thank you for your impact. I like this option. As you know, within the behavioral surveillance, we have great plans. And we have three major issues: low level of understanding and trust to insurance market. The second is practice of making people to take additional services. And the third is that clients get their payments rejected without reason. And for quite a long time, a lot of measures have been taken in order to sort it out. And in 2025, in April, they were approved changes to risk management organizations, risks. And they have annually to consider the claims from their clients and analyze the quality of insurance product. And 10% payment has to be considered as a commission, and there should be innovations related to behavioral surveillance, creation of one united system for insurance companies, banks, and financial institutions. And we are okay with our insurance ombudsman work, but creation of one office would allow to optimize the work. of this insurance ombudsman and to decrease the load, which in fact is being carried by one person. And the Office of Financial Ombudsman, they can sort out some administrative risks related to the amount of claims and would allow to expand the spectrum of those issues related for consideration by the financial ombudsman. And by the end of this year, we plan to accept the regulation document for the agency that would allow creation in insurance companies of divisions that would work with clients, that would analyze claims from clients, to perform control purchases of agreements and to check how agents and managers disclose information. And this is critical for insurance companies because it's not me to tell you that we have two types of workers. Those who work on payments and those who are involved, and they cannot come to agreement between themselves. And someone has to solve the difficulties between them. And the third aspect that I'd like to mention is the ratio of complaints. This is a conditional title because this is a ratio of the level of satisfaction, and it will depend on the amount of claims that have been justified, they to be assessed by the ombudsman, and those that were registered by the manager, and not justified claims have to be considered by the court as the disadvantage of the program. And here we have to work on the issue related to limitation of administration expenses, but this has to be discussed. And I think that this work on behavioral surveillance will go further, and we need to increase the level of trust from the nation to insurance itself and insurance products. And we have to work on it in order to minimize it as much as possible. Thank you, Maria Zhamalovna. From our side, we're doing our best to increase the trust of the nation to insurance market.
That the U.S. regulator is on the side of the rights of the consumer, and we would like to ease the client's way. And of course, there may be some points of connection. Well, I would like to discuss all the initiatives, work together, and get better. And let's finish it. So thanks everybody. I would allow to take poses for to have photos, and then after that we're gonna have beer and nuts. Very happy to greet everyone. Good day, dear participants and guests of the Congress of the Financiers. My name is Bijan Turbayev. I'm the director on the work of State Bodies Association of Financiers of Kazakhstan. And allow me to introduce our multi-profile delegation of speakers. Arman Kasenov Bakajanovic, which is the Vice Minister of National Economy of Kazakhstan. Sarsikey Fakhat Kenarovich, who is the Chairperson of the Management Board of DAMU. Timur Zharkinov, who is Deputy Chairman of the Board at the American National Chamber of Entrepreneurs. Olga Vladimirovna Uros, the Deputy Chairman of the Management Board of Bank of Kazakhstan. Nurlan Shigibayev, who is the Vice President of Bank Center Credit. Abdugaliyev Yerbol Muradovich, who is the Deputy Chairman of the Board, Bank RBK. Dear colleagues, please, the floor is yours.
Timur Zharkinov. Olga Vuras. Nurlan Shigibayev. Yerbol Abdugaliyev.
Okay, dear colleagues, welcome. On the 13th Congress of the Financiers of Kazakhstan, it is organized by the Association of Financiers of Kazakhstan. So, as of today, we have a pretty interesting theme. I'll call it pretty simple, which is the financing of business. Let's spend the whole hour of our time on discussion. What kind of financing we had, what kind of financing we have, and what kind of it for the businesses we'll have and is planned. And as of now, we are living in the age with different measures of governmental support. And yesterday, together with the colleagues, we have discussed that, and we came to that pretty long, and we wanted to know how much money is the government spending to stimulate business. And at the office of the project, the government as the administrators, they see all of the expenses, and they formed all of the expenses. And as of now, the Ministry of Finances, well, I mean, to be more precise, the agency created the resources that supervises the control of the budget funds, and for the period when there was more or less digital statistics, more than 10 million was spent, and 192 measures of the government, of the state, were implemented, and 199 operators of governmental support were implemented. So, out of all of them, we have invited the best one, which is DAMU, basically, our entrepreneurship development fund, and which has shown itself as the most easy and simple partner for the business, and is not being a competitor to the banks and the market. Well, let's begin with our first question to Mr. Kasenov, to Arman Bakajanovic. I remember that in the beginning of the year, the corridors of our state, there were legends that you were the co-author of the analytical work, which consists out of 50 pages. And first of all, it was the order of the head of the state to create those concepts and the strategy. And now the government has implemented that strategy to finance the capitals and make the investment climate even more attractive, up to 8 trillions. So, Bakajanovic, and well, with that, what kind of insights you could share with the market and how the government is viewing this close partnership between the government and the businesses, where the government and private banks are cooperating to refinancing the real sector of economies. Thank you so much. I will try to tell it as interesting as possible. So, you asked a pretty systematic question, and that is why I will provide you a systematic response on that. And moreover, it's very important that all of the participants of the market would really understand where are we going, what is our direction, what is our task. First of all, I'd like to say, pretty happy to see everyone here. I know many of you. I've met with many of you for the first time, acquaintance, and I'm pretty happy I'm pretty glad about that. Speaking of the policy, of course, we will be taking part. We'll be trying our best to influence the economic growth. And what is our aims? As you know, the government has many tasks and aims, and not only about the country, but our main goal is to provide economic welfare. And as you know, the GDP of Kazakhstan will reach 324 billions, and there are also other goals to increase even more. So those tasks, those goals are working to increase the welfare of the local people so that the salaries of the people will grow, so that the incomes of the people will grow. There's an interesting document that I would suggest you to read, which is a national plan till the year 2029, which is a pretty interesting document. And there are some concrete indicators, some definite indicators based on which we can track all that. So the main goal is to increase our welfare. Speaking on that, we would like to increase our GDP to 457 billions till the year 2029, and there are a series of tasks that we should fulfill. So our goal, our main task here is to double our GDP till the year 2029. To do this, we should add to the economics a huge amount of capabilities, production capabilities. So many manufactoriums, many factories that will be oriented to export and will be great employers and will create this kind of system in the country. And so that we would have the sufficient number of those factories, right? There's a question, how many do we need? And the answer is the following. 2 years ago, it was noted that the investments to the GDP is around 15%, which is not sufficient. And after our calculations, we came to the opinion that, of course, the investments inside the country should be higher. And based on our calculation, it should increase up to 23%, up to the year 2029, so that we could duplicate it till 2029. In that case, we'll have to triple that. So, if we really want to create the amount of capabilities that will create the riches inside of our country, and again, there's a question. Is there, if our goal is to have different kinds of investments, then how can we reach this noble goal? Well, first of all, we should secure that we'll have enough qualitative projects and divide them to components. So our first component is to define the correct niche of the projects. Second component is to provide the needed and the right management of that. And the third one is, I will get to some definite numbers. So the aggregate volume of investments should be around 400 billions. So if we'd like to increase it up to 23%, we should increase to this number. And at normal circumstances, the volume of the investments would be around 200 to 280 billions of investments. So therefore, we should create even more stimuli to create even more and build even more factories in our country. So all those niches were defined previously, and those are the niches where there was a very high exportability and a very high margin. And there are different criteria in that. And if 20, 30 years ago people were thinking about which projects we'd like to see in non-economics, then in that case, there was a consensus. Well, first of all, we should create a project with very high capabilities in production capabilities, and therefore we should reach a high number in petrochemics and gas chemics, in total in petrochemical production, and also the agriculture sector. And yeah, and I would say that the efforts that we have, they're not sufficient. So the main thing about it is that we should refurbish and we should work on the raw materials that we have. And there'll be European countries or Latin American countries. So the statistics are available. Australia, for example, you can see that in reprocessing of different kinds of raw materials, let's say metals and agricultural products and so on, the level of production is even twice and 3 times higher than the production. And these are the structures that any country would like to see in their economics. So increasing those kinds of niches would definitely influence the welfare of the country. So the other thing is, in some countries, the salary can be even higher, so that the countries to develop, they have to have only highly productive productions. And even such countries, Singapore which have pretty high GDP per capita, even those guys, they want to have in their economics anything about recycling. Speaking about chemical industry or petrochemical, well, it's just 15% of the whole economics. And before I haven't looked up on those numbers, I wouldn't even think that it's that much. They're also importing, recycling, and exporting. If we'll view Korea, well, Korea is a country that always importing, bringing, recycling, and exporting. So 12% is recycling. If we'll take Israel's economics, well, with the industry that they work in recycling, which is a pretty high productive segment, is cutting the stones, of gemstones. And we as a country, we can sufficiently increase our GDP if the raw materials that we have in our country, we will recycle it. And first of all, we will increase that, and we'll increase the amount of that recycled production. And there is a huge potential of that. And it's just a matter of time. There is a potential of the margin. And if we will realize this kind of projects, then this potential would be fulfilled. And I would like to tell it clear. We do understand that if we'll put the margin, it's not based on what the state dictates, but what the businessman would like to have. So therefore, the best products that were identified in the country should be realized by the businessman. So in case if we will do our best with our own forces and efforts to attract to our projects the best domestic companies. With that, if our first stage would be just identify all those niches and industries where we can do this, and then after that, just view how we can recalculate the margin and increase it. I mean, look, the way we are gathering this, the grains, right? if we would recycle, then we'll be recycling not just 1%, but 5%, but even more, 20%. So this way we could increase our gross margin. Let's get after that. So we identify the segments, right? Straight after that, we have to understand which exact projects should be realized. And we will be identifying that together with our Kazakhstani, with our ministry, and different kinds of experts. We'll be also attracting countries, the leading countries of the world. So we'll have to have a list of projects that will be fixing the gross margin in different productions. And I would like to tell about that. I mean, similar thing was done with every economical miracles. In the 50s, it was done by Japan. There was a legendary ministry, the Ministry for International Trade and Industrialization. Those guys were creating clear strategies and concepts of industries, and they had a clear vision of how their indicators will grow for the further 5 years. Same thing was done with Korea, and same happened with the other countries where we had the economic miracles. What is more important, if we view the last 50 years, the highest rates of growth was achieved by two types of countries. The first one is the countries that have oil economies, so where the state has taken a pretty high participation in development of that, and that's Korea and Japan, of course. Now we have clear understanding of what to do with the projects, identify which kinds of projects we may need, and we will attract the needed expertise. Then we'll have different kinds of structures such as Baiteriek and so on. Besides that, we'll create a structure which will have the role of discussing with the best companies of the leading manufacturing countries, such as China, the US, and so on. Because the thing is, many foreign countries would love to see the possibilities in our country, but they just didn't have reached that exact stage. So therefore, we'll have to find a couple of the best companies that, we could attract here and find out whether they want to get to our country and what do they need to get in our countries, to be attracted in our country. And the third thing, which is important, is providing financing, because based on our calculations, we should add 100 and 120 billions of dollars to have our gross amount of our GDP till the year 2029 to 23%. And this is an absolute indicator, and if we will compare it with our banking sector, then 120 billions of additional investments that would be, in a conservative case, will be fully financed by the institutes of development. That's totally a possible task. And of course, we want the commercial sector and commercial banks, foreign banks, to be attracted here to take part in this. And the more would be the share of those banks, the share of their participation, then everything else would be financed by Baiteriek. And those would be attractive niches, those would be clear and definite leading companies of the world and domestic companies, and we'll have the clear understanding that the financing would be fulfilled to those projects. And in those cases, we're talking about when people are superficially hearing that we are having some, if we're going to implement some strategy, well, we'll say that we're gonna have some, let's say, overthought provisions that there is some governmental capitalism and so on. I would say it's not true, because moreover, there's lots of leading companies, and we can just find out whether they want to get into those projects or not. And if we'll find the project partners for this project, well, if we won't be able to find it, the project won't be fulfilled. Second thing, the project would be realized by the commercial, non-governmental companies. And the third, financing. We'll be happy if the most of of the finance would be done by the commercial structures. If not, then the government. So we would have investment projects. So to have the increase of GDP. So people would love to invest in those projects through different institutions of development. I would be happy to answer to any of your detailed questions. As of now, I don't want to go into details, and I would love to respond to your questions. Thank you so much, Arman Bakirjanovic. It was pretty interesting. It was very interesting.
The main thing I have heard for myself, that private capital you consider to be the main thing, and it is pleasant to hear, Arman, and the question is to you. Timur mentioned great perspective for economy development, but everything depends on business. And out of my experience, I know that there is a request from state authorities that banks have to provide financing in accordance with the industry, but the bank is not creating these projects, and the projects have to be brought to the bank. What does business say? What is business's state right now? What situation in terms of crediting, loans providing, and Atomican has its own network of microcrediting organizations, and you are in Atomican is in transformation mode. And what are the prospects of new project development? Thank you very much. The driver of all economy is the entrepreneurship, and let me say words of congratulation with the Financiers' Day, and this is a very important day for all of us. And we work a lot in this field with the state authorities, with the Ministry of Economy, and I'd like to use the opportunity to say for their help. And business right now, if we call it with their names, is in difficult situation, and we have quite significant amount of support from the state, but there are still a lot of things that are very difficult to forecast, and we expect some changes, and we have to adapt to those changes as a business society. And in our understanding, financing is the critical thing, and everyone understands that. But the main thing is the competency of the business itself. We understand that if we want to develop furthermore, digitalization is critical. It impacts all the aspects of our life. And in order to actively develop, we need to use all the tools, work on them, to involve digitalization itself. And we cannot cancel such mechanisms like work on sites. And local performance bodies, they are involved and they are critical in this chain as well. And the digital roadmap that we have adopted within our society, the service providers have to be included into that map, but as well, state services have to be mapped there as well. In order to develop business, any business is located somewhere, right? In order to develop actively, we need to get connected to infrastructure. Of course, everyone understands that. And when in practice you deal with this, you understand that it's sometimes very tricky to do. And we need to have a unite mechanism, unite window for interaction between business and the state. If you want to get connected to some gas, water supply, or something, you need to have a unite window which you use for this interaction. And via this mechanism, we expect that connection to, as I said, systems like Balakauda, which I mentioned. In this digital window, it can be used not only by business but the state as well. And we suggest that proper implementation of this mechanism will be a very good help of a very good help for entire society. And together with Ministry of Economy and other state bodies, we developed centers of support for entrepreneurs. These are like centers of services where business can come for any type of consultation and get information. And this is a very successful project. We have a lot of entrepreneurs coming every day with their requests. And if we talk about the microfinancing organizations, we have 17 microfinancing organizations located in key regions of our country where financing requests concentration is quite high. And the main for this agency is not getting commercial profit. This organization is created 50-50 with Akimats and Business Association, and it is oriented on support of business which is located in remote areas. And our aim is to make financial instruments more available for those businesses. And we are the operator of this program. We work in close cooperation with state bodies. We keep on doing this work, understanding that there is a great work planned for states' attention to this particular issue, and as well we work with DAMU, and this is critical for us to work with DAMU, and we work on the mechanisms how to develop this particular thing as well. And we discuss it, we work on it, and I think we will get it regulated within this activity. And this is a very good tool for micro and small business. And as well, I'd like to say that the right how to right to finance this business, we need to teach the business how to use the money then. For example, we need to make sure whether they understand how to grow sheep, for example. And our approach is not just to give finance, but as well to train, to educate the business how to deal, how to do the business. Okay, so you have a systematic approach in this, starting from the ABC. You train business for new successes, new projects. Farhat Timur has mentioned that for business, it's critical to have support from DAMU fund. And I'd like to say again that this is a real institution for development, which in fact has shown a great background. For 30 years already you support local business in our country. And what is the analysis? What's required, what's not required, what you can say, crediting, loans issuing, subsidizing is being done for quite a long period. And how do you see the prospects? How do you see the interaction with the banking sector and how it can help in development of entrepreneurship in our country? Thank you very much. My congratulations with the day of our currency, state currency. Let it be stable, let it be eternal. And this is a very good platform to discuss, and I'd like to thank organizers for creating such a platform. And yes, DAMU Fund works for 28 years. We have had ups and downs. We used to have banking license, and we abandoned it. And then we started using another model. And we called it indirect financing, together with the banks, with financial institutions, with leasing companies, with microfinance organizations. And this model, it's a good model. And what's good about that? That penetration, level of penetration, because of our partner banks, it gets to very remote areas of our country. And if we talk about microfinancing organizations, the penetration is even higher. And as a result, what do we work with? Generalizing, if we generalize, we use three tools. The first is subsidizing, the first tool. And we make by that the exit, because we actively used it during the crisis, during the pandemic. And frankly speaking, we have even overused it a little bit, because the program of subsidizing is very good, but it cannot be used for a long time, because it gets distorted and people get used to it too much. And due to our willful decision of our government, we decided to exit this subsidizing program, and we're going to use another type of model, which is called funding. What is the sense of it? And we get 100 tenge, and we want to use it as efficiently as possible. And at that time, base rate was something like 14-25%, and we think that we will be able to make 30% by 70, 30% of our money and 70% of money from the market that we will attract. And we called the program Ubleo, 12.6%. 700 billion from budget were allocated. In bank sector, we have 16 trillion tenge, and everyone thinks that Damu will support everyone. And our portfolio, our share is 15% only. 2 trillion tenge is what we have, and we have only 15%, and this is for the prioritized sectors. And as I said, we have had ups and downs. They were efficient projects, they were not efficient projects, and some people they were not efficient projects supported when it was required. And nevertheless, we have plenty of successful projects. And another tool that we're trying to promote is insuring. The instrument itself is the tool itself is very good, and we like comparing us with Korea, South Korea. They've got a portfolio in $70 billion with GDP of 8 trillion tenge. And if we compare their warranty portfolio and our portfolio, and if it's equal something like 300 billion tenge, and we can increase our warranty portfolio, and this is our potential. And using and this portfolio has to be as maximum as possible friendly, so that banks used it efficiently. And for those projects which are considered to be risky, they have to use our triple B warranty to finance the most important projects, the prioritized projects where there are factories or some infrastructure things being built. And banks, sometimes we hear that banks are covering the loan part, and they don't cover the flow part. And we're trying to cover it so that the RVA was decreased. And the idea is to stimulate up to $10 billion the warranty portfolio that we can increase, and this equals to $1 billion, and we need banks to increase crediting, and there is a risk of not sufficient provision, and the tool for warranty can be updated, and we have changed it this year on the basis of the decree of the head of the state, and he said to make a warranty, and the difference between them, one operates up to 7 billion tenge, another one operates for over 70 billion tenge. And we saved 30 billion tenge for our government. By issuing the warranty, we used to have securities from the state, and it was free of charge. And the minus here is that it's free of charge, and it's not efficiently used. Funds which are being taken away, they are excessively taken, and now since it is paid, when they pay 1.5%, they take it more carefully. They take it for exact period of time, and this 1.5% is now used as a security portion for us. And together with banks and financial institutions, we started creating this fund, and with their contribution one-to-one with their part, we are issuing warranties by 10%. And in order to make our warranty to be used more, plus to 10, we add up 10 billion tenge, and as a result, 350 billion tenge can be issued as warranties for this year. And as of today, we supported something like 400 billion tenge in projects. And we see that 70% of these money are being used for difficult projects, for social projects, in education, in healthcare. And we see how well it develops. And the plus of this fund is that we use this shoulder as in 10x size, which means that we have it as a security by 10%. Then it is and we can operate it by 10%. And this is a good amount of security, and we're going to develop it. Probably there are going to be some shock situations in the future, black swans or something. And as our partners in South Korea are doing, they use support from the state. And the bailout is happening there in order to make this fund stronger. And this promotes banks to participate in these activities more. And by that, this warranty fund is going forward now, and we want, due to warranty tools, to support our economy, to give more loans. And the level of loans, which is 16 trillion of tenge in the banks, comparing with our GDP, which is 300 billion. If we do the if we see how they correlate, it is like 10-11%. And we see that our business needs loans, and we need to work more on insurance tools in order to change the situation. And our system, banks, they have to be more willing to give loans to business. And unwillingly, we came to, and it's not prohibited, not in the charter, not in the entrepreneurs code. There is a legend about Damu that we have a lot of consultants, and we got tired of fighting this, and we decided to regulate this market. We took the English model, and they involve consultants, and they involve consultants, and they accredit them. They require at least 10 years experience in this field. They have to have crystal clear reputation. And And we have a lot of people from banks, even from Damu, who provide these services, and we have a necessity in this. And we have entrepreneurs, former school principals, or, for example,
Directors of kindergartens.
directors of kindergartens, and they come to Damu and they need assistance and they need consultancy, and they talk to them, and there are good consultants and bad consultants, and we have launched a pilot, and it turned out to be quite successful in Aktobe and in Almaty. We supported some 40 projects, and thanks to consultants, we have got net promoting score, and we have collected feedback from various financial institutions, and we have got good results. And they said that our services should not be too expensive. We have to work legally. We have to support business so that they could get approvals from banks for loans. And but if we see some deviations, we will try to exclude such things. And on the website, we are about to post information about the consultants, and there are going to be comments, and on the basis of that, we're going to generate rating for them, and they will be supporting in accounting issues, financial issues, and legal issues. And by that, hopefully, we will bring some order into this financial market, and we will have good consultants.
And now, speaking of education is also important for us, and Ata McKenna is present here. We would like to enhance our Chamber of Commerce, and we would like to start with our programs of training. We have a program of Orleo, and we would like to have entrepreneurs to know at the entrance and exit to the program, to know what are the bases, what are the contributions, and what are the conditions, because many people, they do not read any terms and conditions, they're not reading any agreements on credits, and we'd like to tell them, hey guys, those are the requirements, and they would be in 6 months monitoring, and you have to provide workplaces, you should pay taxes. And as this is a governmental program, you shouldn't have the payments in cash with your contractors. So this kind of course we'll be using and promoting, and of course the international part, how we can go without it. So international cooperation, we have a BBB guarantee, a BBB rating, which we'd like to use, and we have institutions such as the Asian Bank of Development, the European Bank of Development and Reconstruction, and there are also some Islamic ICD that is also saying that our neighboring countries are actively using their instruments. So we'd like to implement that instrument also in our country and develop some interesting programs. And one of those programs that we were thinking about was a program for this beginning entrepreneurs. So with the banks, we have the following situation. The banks love acting entrepreneurs, but there's a category of beginning entrepreneurs, let's say newbies in entrepreneurship. So we're setting this kind of category, those who have 10 years of experience, not too senior, not too young. So we picked the age of 30 to 50 years. We've taken the rate. All of you have a rating, and so we've picked the green zone, which is 700 points and more in the scoring. So, the banks are providing you delayed payment in a year, but at the same time they're not providing you a delay on the interest. So now we'd like to say, okay, guys, you have to have some savings, and we'd like to help you. We'd like to provide you with mentors, and we'd like to provide some guarantees for them, and also provide them some financing. And our program is not being, any obstacle to support the beginning entrepreneurs, and there's no such program that would help this kind of entrepreneurs. And we're thinking about this. If the banks will support us, we can launch the pilot project, and with our guarantee and with our courses, we can even implement them together in the category of, and we would like to just support this category of beginning entrepreneurs. In this way, the smaller businesses, the micro businesses, will be helping each other and working in coexistence. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for your descriptive response. Of course, I feel, Timurzovic and Fakakanovich, what you've said. It seems like this is the time to foster a new business with the new instruments, with new impulses of development of the economy. So, Olga Vladimirovna, the Halyk Bank, the biggest bank of the country, which has the biggest geographies and client base, one of the first banks with take into account digitalization, has created online financing for businesses. Could you please share with your observations, with your successes that you have, how the business is viewing financing, what kind of measures are needed, what are the complexities that you may have, what are the issues that you may have with the governmental bodies, the administration? Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I'm pretty happy to be here, to be present on that session. I would like to congratulate everybody with our professionals. So I'm always saying that the bankers are one of those people that are the most interested in the success of their clients, because they're those people that are always happy for the success of their clients, and those guys are the bankers. And it was pretty interesting to me to hear how much stuff was done and how much great things were done by the government, so much funds of development. It's pretty interesting to see the realization of that take part in. Like you said, 16 trillions of portfolios, right? Of credit portfolios. The credit portfolio of Halyk is 8 trillions. So we're financing 50% of them among the commercial banks of the 50% of the sector. So 50% of them is being financed by Halyk. So we say we're financing, and we will be financing businesses. And we'll be working with all of the segments of business: micro, small, big, and huge businesses. So the whole point is to create fast solutions that will be very comfortable, so that people could get as much financing as they want. So in here we have our know-how. 90% of the credits that we've provided were the credits that were taken online. They're not part of portfolio. Of course, those are pretty little checks, but nonetheless, those are the things that are provided online and given online. We're actively working with all of the governmental bodies, and the clients are looking for any kinds of way to decrease the rate. And the project of Uleu has a pretty high demand on and we're also working on the guarantee fund. And there's also the other question on the wishes of the banking sector. We needed to have a dialogue. It's very important to hear out and to negotiate, to find out what the businesses may need, what the people may need, and what the state needs. And whenever we'll have this dialogue, we can get just really great products that will have the need for many years, and the clients could use it for long term. Speaking of new projects, well, our main focus, the main nuance here is whatever we get pretty simply, all those digital products like digital financing, there's a matter of quality always. This is a story that usually happens, and there appear fraudsters. There is a lot of fraud, and banks are fighting that. And I would say that that's a big, infinite story. Whenever we put kinds of limitations, and then they find out a way around it, and the biggest amount of transactions is being served in Halyk. Even though we have a pretty high and big credit portfolio, and we see how those funds are being wasted and spent. We'd like to connect it somehow to the electronic signatures, and whenever, for example, we see with whom does the company interact, who are its subcontractors and contractors, who is their suppliers, and based on that we can provide an even better scoring. But the thing is, we started from the year 2020, and for the 5 years that's passed, the models are getting developed more and more, and we see it by the quality of the portfolios that we have. And speaking of the clients, of course, there are some industrial solutions, because some of the industries have some needs, and we're viewing in that case to some individual solutions of different kinds of products. We're also implementing the technology of the AI, which we already include at the work with documentation and data analysis. And we do understand that the AI will never replace the people, but to have higher checks, it's really important to get to the place and understand the perspectives for the business. But the bank, I mean, we're using many kinds of technologies to just simplify some routine works. And the legal information and the analysis of data, I mean, we use this kind of helpers. We use this kind of digital helpers so that we could get even faster solutions. And one of the most interesting cases is that we have already created a credit line of almost 1 trillion, but the clients are not spending the budget. So, and here is it's pretty important to understand that we shouldn't have a rivalry with the development banks, because of the segment of smaller and lesser businesses. We cannot just compete with Damu, but in the segment of bigger businesses, then in that case, there are some clients we could finance, and there are some limits. And those guys, they prefer much cheaper financing. That's what we're talking about. We should never compete with the banks of development. Well, that's... Yes, it seems like the turnovers should be different, right? Of the development banks with commercial banks. And of course, in an ideal situation, we should compete with our services, with different kinds of projects that we have for state, for commercial projects and so on, which the banks are not ready to support with. Well, I guess that's it. Well, we're working a lot, we're being active, we're taking part in governmental projects, we'll be ready to finance, and we will be financed. Thank you so much, Olga Vladimirovna. Of course, me as a person who takes part in those governmental initiatives and projects, I do understand that all of that, whenever this happens, the Halyk Bank is always interested. So thank you so much for your comment and for your vision. Roland Mirbekovich, Bank Center Credit. And I, as a person who personally tracks the governmental programs, and you as a person of governmental program things, such as portfolio subsiding and portfolio guarantees, and you know, you having the leading positions in those things, and which spheres as a bank you see perspective for the banking sector? Because do you understand, whenever we're writing our review, our expert review, the Bank Center is always supporting any green projects. Could you share your vision in total, on the development of the financing of business, from your point of view? Well, I would say good evening, dear colleagues. Congratulations with the oncoming celebration. Whenever I was preparing for this exact meeting, I invited my colleagues because one of the questions that we have was, which segment of the market is underestimated, speaking of financing? And each of the colleagues has said that his exact segment is not financed enough. And, you know, depending on the size, all of them said that they lack financing. And if we'll view based on this kind of point of view, then as it's a business, and each business has, I mean, the, I wouldn't say it's all bad. And all of those companies have entrepreneurial spirit, and you know, the government is implementing and developing different kinds of new instruments, and around 1,500 guarantees were provided by the government. And I would say that the story of success started from last year, since we, together with the fund of Damu, have created a platform for the support of startups. And this exact program has been accepted pretty good by the businesses, and as if now we'll be discussing this program that was made with the joint work with Damu. Then out of 10,000 clients, just 4 of them are on delay, on late payment. Well, in this part, in this segments, I can say that the medium businesses, the average businesses, they are not being assessed enough. They're being underestimated. And there are really great programs from the government with pretty low financing, where we, as the banks of the second level, that would provide different kinds of deposits, and we cannot compete there. And the bigger businesses have, of course, their own competencies, their own possibilities to use the help of institutions of development of the banks of the second level. They have their own financiers, they have their own lawyers, and they lack this kind of big support of big projects, because as the Central Credit Bank, we are taking active part, and we're feeling ourselves pretty comfortable on average checks. And here we have the representative of the fund of the industries, and we're working with them. Our work is interconnected, and whenever we're guaranteeing a client, then in that case our guarantee goes with the collateral security. And I think together with the colleagues we have created a good collateral financing. So yeah, in that case you were talking about the green technologies, right? And this is one of the priority industries. And as we have the ESGs, right, and we have our climatic strategy going by the government, and we do understand our portfolio should increase twice, and we're actively supporting the green economics. And the Institutes of Development is putting this as a mandatory condition whenever we get any kinds of funding, to have some share of the process, like around 20%, on any green project to get financing. So it's all going to work 10 to 20% if we be speaking about any institutional development. And we're doing our best to take them. We're trying our best to acquaintance the businesses together with the society, and not just society, of course, in carbon dioxide, in lowering carbon dioxide emissions. Again, thank you so much to the government and the institutions of development. What we really lack, I would say that we really lack some joint industrial analysis. And recently we had an issue when we tried to analyze our railroad fleet, and we couldn't find just one joint single information. And we couldn't find this information that would be synchronized with our neighbors, because we are located in the framework of the same economic and regional space. And because we see that there isn't being built this kind of project. So that's why we are, proponents of syndicated financings. So first of all, it decreases the psychological risk because each of the institutions has their own competencies. And the second thing is it decreases the risks because we got a lower check. So again, that's it. Thanks. And congrats again. Thank you again for a very descriptive position. And we were also talking about the Banky. We really like working with your colleagues on normative and legislative acts. And the RBK Bank is a bank that is not in the pursuit of the number of clients, but the quality of clients. So I would like to ask you a question. I'd like to hear how you're picking the projects, how you're nurturing those projects, and if any of your partners have any difficulties in getting those measures of governmental support, and how in the current situation your partners are working.
Thank you, Bigjan, for such representation. Thank you for possibility to participate in this panel session. I'd like to congratulate everyone with our professional day. I'd like to wish you prosperity and let it be like that. Replying your question, in terms of development and new tools like business refinancing, I have to say that many tools that used to be employed previously are now forgotten. And it happened because of the real crisis in banking sector in 2008, 2009, when foreign credit agencies and banks turned their back to us because the reputation was very bad. And visiting various conferences, international ones and other, I have to say that world is now looking at Kazakhstan again, but 15 years passed. And if we talk about trade financing, which for real borrowers decreased the price of financing. And unfortunately, such tool we don't have widely available. And I have to say that expertise in these tools, in these products, has gone. We have only several specialists who know how it worked in the early 2000s, when discounting had been in place, when they were accreditatives, when they were bonds, warranties, everything has gone. But we have positive trend now, starting from this year. we're going to work implementing these tools because I see huge potential in these, as well with a high rate of the national bank at the background. And our clients represent various industries of Kazakhstan economy, and we see how interested they are in the development of the economy itself, increasing of level of social deductions, taxes, and as a bank, we have some social responsibility. That is why we support such projects. Despite our bank is in eighth, ninth in assets, has fifth place in physical persons loaning. And thanks to Damu that we have this program. In order to stimulate banks to participate in this program more, I will repeat myself what I said when we discussed the conditions of this program. They should be limited. The margin of the banks should be limited. The cost of risk for each borrower is different, and you understand it yourself. That is why, in order to broaden up the coverage and availability of this particular tool, we need to generate some dynamic mechanism which we would employ. And if we talk about entrepreneurs, we need to broaden up the margin because the cost of the risk for the bank is higher. Of course, you are right. We are happy to work with already existing entrepreneurs, develop already existing business, but we shouldn't forget about the new entrepreneurs. As my colleagues said, that we need to take out of the shadow those consultants who help, and this is a good idea to bring order into this sphere. Because many borrowers are not happy with the terms of consideration of their requests. Why? Because the requests are not completely ready. Because entrepreneurs do not exactly understand what they have to do in order to present information proper way. Payback period for the project is not always well determined, and it makes requests to be considered for a longer period of time. And we need to bring them into order, and if they are okay, then we will be quicker to respond, the banks. So these are the considerations about this. Thank you very much. I understand that we are a little bit beyond the limit of our time, but we don't have any session after. We still can keep on talking, and thank you for sharing your opinion. I'd like to ask a short question, and I want each speaker to express himself in a short answer to this question. Like Yerbol said, everything new is godforsaken old. There are tools to support, and generally in Kazakhstan is in the mode of economical reforms. Reforms are not over, and the new agenda is being formed of the reform. Why it happens? Yerbol, please pass the floor to you. Could you say a few words? I will express it as I see it. Reforms are a good thing. But once again, when specific decisions are taken, practitioners have to be heard because they are the ones who are going to implement it, and it's critical at the beginning of the project. I understand that each tool can tuned up, can be corrected, but it brings, by that we lose time. From the very beginning, we need to have a working tool when we start. Thank you. I won't say something new. Time changes quickly. times change quickly, and if we don't adapt in a good sense, then we will not be up to date. Earlier, when we said the word strategy, and it was quite a strange thing, and then we, as a bank, we update our strategy every 3 months, because conditions change and we have to adapt. We have to adapt internal rules, and it's not bad that new reforms come when old reforms are not over. It's not bad. I will repeat myself. Dialogue is critical. It's critical to hear each other and come to a general ground and get all the participants involved. Thank you. I'd like to say it in a different way. In general, I think that development institutions can work and have to work with private sector. They have to support each other, and DAMU works well with them. And the tool of DAMU is warranting is very good for commercial sector. And in the future, as Mr. Sarsikeyev said already, we have plans to increase warranting volumes, and according to the statistics of Kazakhstan and foreign countries, warranties participate in increase of taxes and increase of GDP, and generally speaking, this is a good thing, and we want to increase it numerously. If we talk about other segments, like giving loans to major projects, I'd like to say that we think that bank sector has to have access to beneficial funds like other institutions, and the tool for warranting for major business is available for banks. And if we give funding for a long period of time for long development projects which are significant for the country, they should not be only for the regulator, but for the commercial banks as well. It will bring competition on similar conditions, and we will avoid a situation when it is said that someone is taking away clients. We need to increase supporting tools, and I personally
to increase support for supporting tools, focus on
and we have to see the disadvantages, and we have to consider the advantages as well, and it would allow to increase the GDP, the economy of the country, and our reforms are good, required. We are quite creditable country, and I see a bright future for us. And within this framework, we will create conditions for both businesses and banks. And in order to double the GDP, sounds like we are creating it for a major business. It's not. It looks like it's not related to the remaining part of the economy. Let's imagine it like that. There is a city and there is a major employer, and all the medium-scale and small-scale business is living around this. And if this enterprise goes down, then it loses the markets for sale, and vice versa. And our policy is rolling around the major businesses, and it It is about creating locomotives of economy, and they will make the demand for the rest part of the economy. So it will increase the market for medium scale and small scale business. It will require all kinds of regeneration and like roads and everything. And that's the best way to help medium and small scale business, to give them the market to sell their product. And besides that, we are creating markets of sale for entire economy. We need to provide credit sufficiency. Ideally, each project in the country has to get funds, and it will allow economy to grow, and the welfare will grow as well. And we need to increase the warranty levels, and beneficial funding has to be in place. And as a result, we see that we can if we get together, we will be able to build up a stronger economy. And speaking frankly, today we have good indicators, but we need to increase them. Sorry, I forgot the question. Yes, I asked our speakers to be brief, but they weren't. Reforms that we're having here, bankers say that reforms are always good. And I said that one reform did not end, and we start another one. And bankers say that we adopt. In Bayterek, we have a joke. We are nomads, and we slept and at the same time fought. The base rate within 1 year has grown from 14 up to 18%. Urleo program was 30 by 70, and we made it 45 by 55. And within 3 years, we have changed it. And we have these shifts in economy. That is why we have to adapt ourselves. And we expected 750 billion tenge, and now we calculate we have 830 or 2 billion. And as in Damu, we work with banks, with business, and with government. We have to adapt to these changes. And if we are talking about industries, we need to impact one specific type of industry, and we need to work with the best-selling products, and those ones which influence the inflation and our product basket. And so let's, within 5 years, support the processing industry. Let's fill up the consumer's basket with products, with construction materials, with medical stuff. We are said that Kazakhstan is developing. We need to support medicine, tourism, education, logistics, transport. And okay, let's get concentrated on these 5 spheres, industries, and let's keep working within them. And anyway, any changes, adding of codes of activities has to be performed via calculations, via macroeconomical models. We need to understand what kind of target we have, and in 5 years we have to assess what was our achievement within this general work. So we need to get oriented to targeted support for those money that we get from the government, and we use them for work with banks, with businesses, would have been more efficiently used, and we have to be capable to calculate what was the impact for the economy in terms of this funding. And maybe, and we as well have to assess whether don't we make situation in some specific industry worse. And within the analytical data from DAMO that we have access to, we see that the life in country is changing. Changes are constant. Thank you, Farhat. And another question, and I'm like co-chairman of Committee on Leasing. Orleo is used within the banks. Orleo for leasing companies. Are we going to have it or not? Leasing, we call them private leasing companies, and their share at the market is decreasing from year by year. And this year it is 7%. And we understand that these private leasing companies, they finance only capex. And they are the lowest on the market, about 1%. And we have to support, and within the BITEREC we discussed it, that all programs that we have, we need to include leasing companies as well. And recently, I talked to representatives from leasing companies, said that we have finance. If we don't have financing, okay, let's give warranties. You get the financing, and you will be funding the medium and small scale business, and they attract base rates like 1.2, 1 or 2%, and they invest mainly in capex, in fixed assets. And investment from Orleo is provided, but it depends on the rate. We have to determine it. And we're trying to double it by mixing money. And the leasing companies, they just don't have that amount of money to participate in the project together with us. And if they don't participate, we will still be able to finance at 12% rate. And Timur, pass the floor to you. There was critical thing mentioned about the reforms. Do you remember the topics? Cryptocurrency, AI, the war. The world is full of risks, and in order to survive, we need to adapt. And we are very much tended to reforming. And this is a specificity of our country, that we are not well adapted to external risks. And in Russian Federation, I work now, and I see that they are quite slow in their changes and approvals. And we see, and I see that we are quicker to adapt. But we should avoid such a situation when we do reforms just for the sake of reforms only, and we shouldn't be getting into that side. And from government, I see that they are helping us, and we see that according to the new code, those changes that have been approved by the government. And I see that the policy is changing, and the principle develop the strongest part is becoming the main trend.
That is being planned to be reviewed by our state's governmental program, which is a pretty interesting instrument to implement. So I do think that all of our reforms would be in a positive and reasonable key. Dear colleagues, thank you so much for such discussion. I'm really thankful for today's speakers, and I would thank the audience that still remain here, even for we had our temporal limitations. And we hope that our audience has listened clear answers to clear questions. And I would like to congratulate everybody with our national professional celebration. Thanks again to everybody, and I suggest take a picture.